Good day. I am Peter Rony, and after 29 years of service to CASH, I am retiring this year. When Tom Edgar, who is currently the CASH Executive Director, learned of my impending retirement, he invited me to attend the Chicago CASH Trustees meeting, which I would make my swan song. Unfortunately, I didn't have the foggiest idea what a swan song was. So I went to Google. This definition is not me. I have not known myself to be completely mute anywhere or any time. So I went back to Google, and the second definition works for me. This PowerPoint presentation is my swan song. Time was not available on the agenda in Chicago for me to deliver the presentation, so I'm creating a PowerPoint video for publication in a forthcoming issue of CASH News. And the CASH News publication is available at the CASH website, cash.org. So, what will I discuss as future opportunities for CASH? Well, these 5 topics. The first topic is National Science Foundation to promote high school engineering courses. This is a game-changing opportunity for CASH. And why is it an opportunity? Because, in my opinion, high school teachers are more open-minded to teaching modern approaches to mathematics, science, and engineering than our university faculty. Therefore, I see NSF involvement as an opportunity for CASH. Well, CASH is not unaware of this opportunity. For example, the University of Texas College of Engineering has received a 5-year, $12.5 million grant from the National Science Foundation for a project called You Teach Engineering. A CASH trustee, Dave Allen, is very involved in this grant at Texas. And here on this slide you see some information about the grant. 1 year ago, the CASH trustees proposed a CASH work group on K-12 education, and here are some details. And here are some tasks associated with this work group. Third task being made here is a suggestion by Mike Cutlum and myself to teach Polymath Light to high school students who are taking APT Calculus. So that brings up the question, what is Polymath Light? First, this is Polymath Professional, which is available for download and testing from the Polymath website for a period of 15 days, after which you must purchase a license. Now, what is Polymath Professional? Well, it contains 4 numerical analysis programs. And my vision for Polymath Light contains only one program, which is the differential equation solver. With only a single program, presumably Polymath Light will be less expensive and could be disseminated at low cost more widely. Now, an idea about Polymath Lite. 1 year ago, Mike Cutlip wrote an email to Dave Allen at Texas and made some recommendations with which I agree. Here's the second page of his email where Mike mentions Polymath Lite. So, looks like once again Mike and myself are on the same page. Let me show you a Polymath program. This looks complicated, it has many lines of code, but basically it is a signal first order ordinary differential equation in which I am testing 11 different values of a dimensionless rate constant. When I solve this equation using Polymath, here is the graphical result. This is visualization. On the y-axis is a dimensionless concentration relative to the input or inlet of a steady-state flow reactor, and the x-axis is a dimensionless distance. And each curve represents a different dimensionless rate constant. So for a small rate constant, the concentration as a function of the distance down the reactor is barely changed. But if the rate constant is much larger, then the concentration goes to zero very rapidly. So, this is what Polymath Lite is all about. Now, when in high school can we teach Polymath Lite? Well, we can teach it at the end of a calculus course, advanced placement calculus course. I went to Amazon.com, and this is a very new edition of a calculus textbook. It's the 9th edition. At Amazon.com, it's possible to view the table of contents, and I did so, and look at this. The book has 1,141 pages, plus appendices, plus index. It's a huge book. Am I surprised? No. I looked at 20 years of calculus textbooks, and they're all huge. Now, I do not propose that undergraduate science and engineering students take anything less than a complete detailed course in calculus during the freshman year. But I ask, do history majors need such detail? Do social science majors, do biologists, do health and human nutrition majors need the detail? My answer is no. And therefore, I recommend that some of the detail in these books be replaced by a focus on certainly first order ordinary differential equations. Okay, my third topic is high performance computing and graphical processing units. Now, as of last November, I knew nothing about GPUs, but I then listened to Sharon Glotzer give a talk about graphics processors, and I was literally swept off my feet. And here is the point of her talk, that the future of hardware microprocessor chips are multi-core graphical processing units, which are represented by this extrapolated green curve. So the processing power of such chips is expected to grow by leaps and bounds. And I knew at the time nothing about such chips. These are also called graphics processor chips, and here are their characteristics. For example, a high-end processing GPU could contain 240 processor elements and up to 4 gigabytes of on-chip memory. Their cost is not too high, and millions are being sold each year. And what are they used for? Well, graphics processing, visualization, high bit density images, and so forth. And that's what we see all the time now on our computers and our game consoles. So GPUs have revolutionized hardware processing. Now let me move to another opportunity which may seem strange for an organization like CASH. And this opportunity is to promote public understanding of what is chemical engineering. Now, what is the public understanding? I went to Google and here it is. For example, look at the underlined phrase, design and construction and operation of the plants and machinery. So plants and machinery are hardware. And that's what chemical engineering seems to be known as. Here is a Wikipedia definition which is longer. And here is a definition from Webster's International Dictionary, copyright 1976. Design and operation of plants and equipment. So, what's an example? I went to Google Images, and this is an image of a petroleum refinery. People will admit this is chemical engineering. And this is a chemical engineering flow sheet image from Google. So I asked the question, is chemical engineering only applicable to large chemical systems? Well, my answer for as long as I've been teaching is no. For example, since 1974, I've taught a senior elective course on chemical microengineering that focuses on small chemical systems. So what is chemical microengineering? I wrote a paper and published it in Cash News in 2000, and I defined chemical microengineering as the study of the engineering of small chemical systems, and here I've explained what a small chemical system is. Here are some examples of small chemical systems. The first group are biological, and in the next group there are many small chemical systems to be found in an analytical chemistry laboratory. But I'd like to point out, and again this is a Google image, that a single animal cell is a small chemical system. And look at the complexity of the subcellular regions within this cell. This is chemical engineering, and we need not use the word bio to sort of divert attention to what it is. A chemical engineer would be completely comfortable with understanding this internal mix of subcellular components, and we would ask rather obvious questions for a chemical engineer. For example, how many different molecules exist in this cell? How many different reactions occur? How many different equilibria occur? How does a molecule get from one place in the cell to another if there's no mechanical pump? So there are lots of questions that make a chemical engineer feel very comfortable, and this, in my opinion, is the future, one future for chemical engineering. And my final opportunity is for us to promote curriculum change in advanced placement chemistry to include key concepts of chemical engineering. Let me give you one example. Dimensionless groups. In my opinion, for as long as I've been a chemical engineer, I've considered dimensionless groups to be fantastic. And why are they fantastic? Because they allow an individual to gain insight simply by using algebra to calculate the value of a dimensionless group. And he or she can do so without resorting to sophisticated mathematics such as ordinary differential equations or partial differential equations. This is a very nifty end run around mathematics. And by the first year of college, it is assumed that most students understand how to use algebra. Let me give you an example. Here are three dimensionless groups which I call alpha, beta, and delta. These three groups represent ratios of first order reactions, convection, and diffusion. And one can get values for alpha, beta, and delta simply by knowing the values of various physical parameters. In fact, you don't need to be very precise with these values. You can make estimates of the values and then plug them in and calculate the value of one or more dimensionless groups. This is absolutely remarkable. And this is just but one of the interesting concepts of chemical engineering that I believe we should teach in advanced placement chemistry. I thank you for viewing this presentation and listening to my swan song, and I end this presentation again with a view of the remarkable microstructure of an animal cell.